Welcome back, American coin hunter, in the world of coin collecting. Sometimes the smallest denomination can carry the biggest story, and the United States 1-cent coin, especially the 2018 issue, is a perfect example of this. At first glance, it's just a copper-plated zinc coin that most people overlook, something you'd find rattling at the bottom of a drawer or sitting in change you get back from a store. But for serious collectors and passionate numismatists, certain rare examples of the 2018 penny have gained an almost mythical status, with some claiming that in specific unique conditions, the value can soar into the millions, even reaching as high as $20 million. Now, that sounds unbelievable for a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, but once we dive deep into the design, the history, the production details, and the market demand, you'll begin to understand why this small coin has attracted so much attention. First, let's understand exactly what the 2018 1-cent coin is in its basic physical form. It weighs 2.5 grams, a standard weight for modern US cents produced since 1982, when the mint shifted from primarily copper composition to a copper-plated zinc planchet. That weight might seem insignificant, but for collectors, even a tiny deviation, say 2.6 grams or 2.4 grams due to a minting error, can make the coin far more desirable and valuable. The diameter is 19.05 millimeters, and the thickness is about 1.52 millimeters, dimensions that have been consistent for decades for US pennies. The coin's composition is 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, giving it that familiar reddish tone that slowly darkens and changes color as it ages. On the obverse, that's the front of the coin, we have the classic bust of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, facing right. This design by Victor David Brenner has been a mainstay since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," an enduring national motto. To the left, along the edge, is the word, "Liberty," and to the right, the date, 2018, followed, in most cases, by a mint mark. If it's a D, the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. If it's blank or has a P or S, it indicates the Philadelphia or San Francisco Mint respectively. These small letters can make a huge difference to collectors, because some mint locations produce lower numbers of coins or special proof editions, which increases rarity. The reverse side, the back of the coin, features the Union Shield design introduced in 2010. This shield has 13 vertical stripes representing the original 13 states, joined together under a horizontal bar that symbolizes the federal government. Across the shield is a banner with the inscription, "E pluribus unum," which means, "Out of many, one." Above the shield are the words, "United States of America," and below it is the denomination, 1 cent. This design, created by Lindell Bass and sculpted by Joseph Mena, replaced the earlier Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been in use from 1959 to 2008. The choice of the shield was symbolic, meant to represent Lincoln's preservation of the Union during the Civil War, tying back to his legacy and his role in American history. But why would a 2018 penny be worth anything beyond 1 cent, let alone $20 million? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and errors. Most 2018 pennies in circulation are common and worth exactly their face value, but rare varieties, such as those struck on experimental planchets, those with dramatic double dies, or coins that escaped quality control with misaligned strikes, off-center designs, or unusual compositions, can fetch staggering amounts at auction. Imagine finding a coin where the date or lettering appears doubled, the rim is unusually thick, or the color is distinctly different because it was struck on a foreign coin blank. These are the anomalies collectors dream of. Combine that with a flawless, untouched condition graded MS-70 by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, and the price can skyrocket. The idea of a $20 million penny comes from the notion that a coin can become so unique, perhaps the only known example of a particular error, that collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay whatever it takes to own it. That's how numismatic legends are born. And let's not forget, the market for rare coins is driven by both passion and investment potential. Just as some people invest in art, luxury cars, or fine wines, others see rare coins as tangible assets that can appreciate over time. The story of the 2018 penny also ties into the long and fascinating history of the US cent. The first official 1-cent coin was struck in 1793, featuring designs far different from today's Lincoln cent. Over the centuries, the penny has gone through many transformations, from large copper coins to the smaller, lighter cents we use now. During World War II in 1943, for example, pennies were made from zinc-coated steel to conserve copper for the war effort. This change led to rare off-metal errors when some coins were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets, creating valuable collectibles. In 1982, the U.S. Mint made another major change, switching the composition from 95% copper to mostly zinc with a thin copper plating, which reduced production costs, but also created new error possibilities. The 2018 penny follows this modern format, yet within that year's production, the potential for rare and valuable varieties remained. In fact, some reports suggest that a small number of 2018 pennies were struck with subtle dye doubling on the reverse shield or on Lincoln's profile, barely visible to the naked eye but easily confirmed under magnification. Coins like these can be sleepers in the hobby, coins that go unnoticed in circulation until a sharp-eyed collector or dealer recognizes their rarity. The hunt for these coins is part of what makes collecting so exciting. Imagine sifting through a handful of change from a grocery store and realizing that one of those ordinary-looking pennies could pay off your mortgage, buy you a luxury car, or even change your life entirely. Now, when we talk about the market value of a coin like the 2018 penny, we have to understand how the numismatic market works. The price of a coin is not just determined by its metal content. In fact, in the case of modern US cents, the actual copper and zinc inside the coin are worth less than the face value. What gives a coin value beyond that is a combination of scarcity, demand, historical importance, and condition. Condition, often referred to in the coin world as grade, is absolutely critical. A coin fresh from the mint, with no scratches, no fingerprints, and full luster, is referred to as mint state. Professional grading services, such as the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) or the Numismatic Guarantee Company (NGC), will examine coins under magnification and assign them a grade on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded at the top of that scale, MS70, is considered perfect, with no visible flaws even under 5x magnification. Such coins are incredibly rare in circulation because the moment a coin leaves the mint and is handled, it picks up marks that lower its grade. This is why most high-value coins come from special mint sets, proof sets, or rolls saved by collectors immediately after release. The 2018 penny was struck in huge quantities. Billions of them were minted, but within those billions, a tiny fraction will be absolutely perfect or contain unique minting errors. That's where the excitement comes in. For example, a 2018 penny with a dramatic double die error could become a numismatic sensation. In a double die error, the design elements, such as the lettering or Lincoln's face, appear doubled because the die used to strike the coin was misaligned during the hubbing process. Some double dies are so dramatic that they can be seen without magnification, and these are the kinds of coins that collectors chase aggressively. Even a small doubling, if it's unique to a certain year and mint, can add significant value. Another factor to consider is strike quality. Not all coins are struck equally. Sometimes the pressure is too light, leaving the design details weak, while other times the strike is unusually strong, bringing out crisp, sharp features that make the coin stand out. Collectors often pay premiums for well-struck examples. Then, there's the fascinating category of off-metal errors. While rare in modern minting, these occur when a coin is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. Imagine a 2018 penny struck on a dime blank. The coin would be smaller, lighter, and likely missing parts of the design due to the size difference. Such an error would be instantly recognized as a minting anomaly and could sell for thousands, even tens of thousands, depending on condition. Now, how does this relate to a $20 million valuation? The truth is, no standard 2018 penny is worth anywhere near that amount. However, in the world of collectibles, the value of an item is ultimately determined by what someone is willing to pay for it. If a single example of a 2018 penny were discovered with an unprecedented, unique error, something that could never be replicated, and that captures the imagination of collectors worldwide, it's not impossible that two or more wealthy collectors could enter into a bidding war, driving the price to astronomical levels. It's rare, yes, but history has shown us that the coin market is capable of producing shocking results. For example, the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar sold for over $10 million in 2013, not because of its silver content, but because it was believed to be the very first silver dollar struck by the U.S. Mint. Similarly, the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle gold coin sold for over $18 million in 2021 because of its extreme rarity and unique legal status. These are reminders that in the right circumstances, a seemingly small and simple object can command a price most people would consider unimaginable. The 2018 penny's design itself holds more meaning than most realize. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse has been subtly refined over the years, with slight changes to details such as the hair, the jawline, and the sharpness of the lettering. These refinements are the work of skilled engravers and sculptors, ensuring that even after more than a century, Lincoln's image remains iconic. The reverse Union shield is equally symbolic, evoking the strength and unity of the United States. It's worth noting that in 2018, the Mint also produced special proof and uncirculated versions of the penny for collectors, using polished dies and carefully prepared planchets to create coins with mirror-like fields and frosted details. These proof coins, often struck multiple times to ensure perfect detail, are packaged in protective cases and sold directly to collectors. While most proof 2018 pennies are not worth millions, flawless examples in deep cameo finish can fetch much higher prices than regular circulation strikes. The real treasure hunt, however, happens in everyday transactions. A 2018 penny might pass through hundreds of hands before ending up in your pocket, and while most will be common, there's always that slim chance that one coin could be the discovery of a lifetime. That's why collectors always say, check your change. The thrill lies in the possibility that an extraordinary rarity is out there, just waiting to be found. And here's where the story becomes even more intriguing. There have been whispers in the collecting community about certain 2018 pennies showing unusual characteristics, slightly rotated dies, unexpected weight variations, or even hints of off-metal strikes. While these have not all been verified by grading companies, such rumors fuel the excitement and drive more people to examine their coins closely. In a way, the legend of the $20 million 2018 penny is less about the specific number and more about the dream it represents. For collectors, the hunt is as valuable as the find, and each coin is a tiny piece of history you can hold in your hand. When we talk about the 2018 penny, we also have to place it in the broader context of Lincoln cent history because understanding the lineage of this coin is key to appreciating why collectors value certain issues so highly. The Lincoln cent has been in continuous production since 1909, making it the longest-running design in United States coinage history. That year marked the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the decision to honor him on the smallest denomination was revolutionary. Before that, U.S. coins traditionally featured symbolic images, like liberty rather than actual historical figures. Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian-born sculptor, was commissioned to create the design, and the result was so well received that the obverse portrait remains virtually unchanged more than a century later. Over the decades, the reverse has gone through several transformations. From 1909 to 1958, the wheat ears design featured two stylized wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent, symbolizing agricultural prosperity. Then, from 1959 to 2008, the Lincoln Memorial Reverse honored the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, showing the Washington, D.C. memorial in precise detail. Collectors love the fact that with a magnifying glass, you could even see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial on the coin. Finally, starting in 2010, the Union Shield design we see on the 2018 penny was introduced, representing national unity and Lincoln's role in preserving the United States during its most divisive era. The shield itself has 13 vertical stripes for the original states, topped by a horizontal bar symbolizing federal unity, and the banner with E Pluribus Unum ties it back to the country's founding principles. But beyond design and symbolism, what makes the 2018 penny special to collectors is the possibility of anomalies. Errors in modern minting are rare because technology has improved dramatically, but when they do happen, they stand out all the more. In 2018, billions of pennies were struck across multiple mints, Denver, Philadelphia, and San Francisco, and with that kind of volume, even a microscopic error rate means potentially thousands of unusual coins. For example, a double die on the date, mint mark, or lettering is one of the most desirable types of errors because it's a direct result of the die-making process rather than post-mint damage. This makes it an authentic mint variety rather than a flawed coin. Another collectible category is off-center strikes, where the coin's design is not properly aligned with the blank planchet, leaving part of the surface blank and shifting the image off to one side. The degree of misalignment affects the value. Coins that are 5 to 10% off-center might fetch a small premium, but those that are 50% or more off-center, while still showing a full date, can command serious prices. Then there are broad strikes, which occur when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, allowing it to spread out and flatten more than normal. A broad-struck 2018 penny would be wider and thinner than standard, making it instantly noticeable to anyone who handles it. Weight errors are another fascinating possibility. A normal 2018 penny weighs 2.5 grams, but if a coin was accidentally struck on a slightly heavier or lighter planchet, it would stand out when weighed. This is why serious collectors keep precise digital scales. Even a variation of a few tenths of a gram can signal a potential rarity. There's also the category of wrong planchet errors, which are among the rarest and most valuable. Imagine a 2018 penny accidentally struck on a nickel blank, aluminum blank, or even a foreign coin blank. This could happen if leftover planchets from another run got mixed into the penny production line. These coins are instantly worth hundreds or thousands of dollars because of their uniqueness. And for those lucky enough to find proof of such a rarity in their pocket change, it's like winning a miniature lottery. Of course, the idea of a $20 million 2018 penny would require a truly once-in-a-lifetime combination of rarity, error type, and historical significance. It would likely need to be a unique piece verified by top grading authorities, heavily publicized in the media, and desired by more than one high-net-worth collector willing to outbid everyone else. This is not unprecedented. Similar bidding wars have occurred over famous coins, like the 1804 Drake Buzz Silver Dollar, the 1913 Liberty Head Nickel, and the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle. In each case, the coin's value was driven not just by rarity, but by the stories and legends surrounding it. And in the coin world, stories are just as valuable as the metal. Speaking of stories, Every coin has its own journey. The 2018 penny you might be holding could have started its life at the Philadelphia Mint, where massive coin presses strike blanks with thousands of pounds of pressure, imprinting Lincoln's portrait and the Union Shield design in an instant. From there, it could have traveled in bulk bags to Federal Reserve banks, then to commercial banks, then into the hands of businesses and customers. In that journey, most coins are handled roughly, accumulating tiny scratches, nicks, and wear. But some coins, by pure chance, avoid circulation entirely, perhaps ending up in a forgotten roll at the back of a drawer, preserved in perfect mint state for years. These are the survivors that stand a chance of fetching a high premium decades later. For the 2018 penny, the clock is ticking. While the majority will always be worth 1 cent, some examples may already be quietly appreciating in value, especially if they're high-grade proof coins, rare errors, or unusual varieties. Savvy collectors know that today's common coin can become tomorrow's treasure if preserved carefully and recognized for its potential. That's why the hobby encourages not just collecting but studying, learning how to spot a doubled die, how to detect machine doubling versus true hub doubling, how to weigh a coin precisely, and how to recognize an off-metal strike. The more knowledge you have, the better your chances of spotting the kind of rarity that could change your life. And that brings us back to the allure of the 2018 penny as a symbol. It's more than just a piece of metal, it's a tiny artifact of history, a product of American artistry and engineering, and, for the sharp-eyed collector, a potential key to a fortune. The fascinating thing about coins, like the 2018 penny, is that their true potential often goes unnoticed in their own time. People see them as small change, yet, in the hands of someone who understands their story, they can become rare treasures. This is why the most dedicated numismatists don't just collect coins. They research them, they examine them under magnification, they weigh them, and they document every unusual detail they find. They understand that the U.S. Mint's operations are massive and complex, producing billions of coins each year, and that even with the most advanced technology, mistakes are inevitable. These mistakes, or, more politely, minting anomalies, are where the real excitement lies. Imagine being one of the first people to notice that a certain batch of 2018 pennies had a double die on the Liberty inscription, where the letters appeared to have a faint shadow or ghost image just slightly offset from the main lettering. At first glance, most people wouldn't notice it, but to a trained collector, that subtle doubling could be the key to identifying a new variety. Once such a discovery is confirmed and published in respected numismatic references, like the Cherry Picker's Guide or reported by error coin experts, demand can surge almost overnight. Another example is repunched mint marks. While the modern minting process has reduced the chances of this occurring, there are still instances where the mint mark appears doubled or slightly misaligned because it was punched into the die more than once. For a 2018 penny from Denver, a repunched D mint mark would be an anomaly that collectors would eagerly seek out. In some cases, these varieties are so scarce that only a handful are ever found, and when that happens, prices at auction can reach jaw-dropping levels. But errors aren't the only factor that can elevate the value of a coin. Provenance, the documented history of a particular coin, can also play a huge role. If a certain 2018 penny were part of a famous collection owned by a well-known figure in the numismatic world, or if it had been featured in a major exhibition or publication, that pedigree could add a significant premium. Collectors often pay more for coins with a documented and interesting history, because it makes the piece not just a collectible, but a tangible connection to an important story. Now, let's talk about the market mechanics. When a coin like the 2018 penny is hyped as having a possible $20 million example out there, the immediate effect is that more people start checking their coins. This increased attention can drive up prices for even minor varieties because demand spikes. If thousands of collectors suddenly want a specific double die, and only a few hundred are available, the laws of supply and demand take over. The market for rare coins is highly sensitive to publicity. A single article, YouTube video, or social media post can send waves through the community. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers regularly see this effect when a rare coin makes headlines. Suddenly, every collector is looking for similar pieces, and even coins of slightly lesser rarity benefit from the halo effect. This is why timing is everything in numismatics. Selling a coin at the peak of its hype can yield far more than waiting until interest cools. Of course, serious collectors and investors know that the market also has long-term cycles. Coins that are hot one year may cool off the next, but the truly rare and historically significant pieces tend to appreciate steadily over decades. A 2018 penny with an extraordinary error and pristine condition could be such a piece, holding its value and perhaps even increasing as the years pass and fewer high-quality examples remain in existence. Preservation is another critical element. The condition of a coin can make the difference between a few dollars and a small fortune. Coins should be handled only by the edges, preferably with cotton gloves, and stored in holders that protect them from moisture, air, and physical damage. Even a fingerprint can cause permanent spots on a copper-plated zinc coin like the 2018 penny. Collectors often use airtight holders, archival flips, or coin capsules to safeguard their most valuable pieces. And let's not forget grading. A coin professionally graded and encapsulated, known as slabbed by PCGS or NGC, provides buyers with confidence in its authenticity and condition. A slabbed MS-70 2018 penny with a dramatic, unique error could command incredible attention and spark bidding wars, especially if it's the only known example. This brings us to the psychological side of coin collecting. Humans have a natural fascination with rarity, and owning something unique satisfies a deep desire to possess a piece of history that no one else can claim. For wealthy collectors, the stakes are even higher. Rare coins become symbols of status and achievement, much like fine art or rare gemstones. In that sense, the $20 million valuation for a unique 2018 penny isn't just about the metal or the minting. It's about the story, the bragging rights, and the legacy. Picture this: an exclusive auction in a luxurious setting, with high-profile bidders from around the world, each eager to claim a coin that has become the talk of the numismatic world. Cameras flash, bids climb into the millions, and finally, the hammer falls at a record-breaking $20 million. The winning bidder doesn't just walk away with a coin, they walk away with a piece of legend. The story would make headlines, inspire new collectors, and ensure that the 2018 penny in question would be remembered for generations. And that's the magic of numismatics, the transformation of ordinary pocket change into a piece of history worth more than most houses, cars, or even entire businesses. In truth, most people will never find a 2018 penny worth millions. But that's not the point. The real reward is in the hunt, in the knowledge gained, and in the appreciation for the artistry and history behind each coin. The 2018 penny is a perfect example of how even in a world dominated by digital transactions and electronic payments, physical currency still has the power to capture our imagination. It's a reminder that value isn't always about numbers on a screen. Sometimes it's about the stories we tell and the treasures we hold in our hands. When it comes to advanced coin hunting, the 2018 penny offers a surprisingly rich playground for those who know where to look. While billions of these coins exist in circulation, the secret lies in knowing how to separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. At first glance, a penny might look like every other one you've ever seen: the familiar copper sheen, Lincoln's dignified profile, the Union shield standing proudly on the reverse. But the trained eye of a numismatist doesn't just see a penny. It sees the fine lines in Lincoln's hair, the crispness of the lettering, the sharpness of the rim, and the evenness of the color. These tiny details are clues, and like a detective piecing together a mystery, the coin collector knows that a single irregularity can mean the difference between 1 cent and thousands, even millions, of dollars. Let's talk specifics. One known area of interest in modern pennies is die deterioration doubling. This is where a worn die starts to create a shadowy doubling effect on certain features. While this isn't considered a true double die in the numismatic sense, some forms of deterioration doubling are striking enough to catch attention. In 2018, certain pennies have been noted with faint extra outlines on E pluribus unum, or the shield stripes, and while most of these don't carry huge premiums, they serve as stepping stones for collectors learning to spot more significant varieties. The real prizes are those coins with genuine double dies, where the doubling occurs in the die itself during hubbing. Imagine a 2018 penny where the date 2018 is clearly doubled, or Lincoln's eye appears doubled under magnification. These varieties, if confirmed by expert attribution services, can instantly become hot targets in the collector market. Even minor double dies can be worth keeping if they're from a popular series like the Lincoln Cent, but dramatic ones, where the doubling is bold and obvious, can command serious money. Then, there are struck-through errors. This happens when a piece of debris, grease, cloth, or other foreign material gets between the die and the planchet during striking. The material leaves an impression or void in the design, creating a one-of-a-kind piece. In 2018 pennies, struck-through grease errors are relatively common, leading to missing or weak details in the shield or lettering. But rarer struck-throughs, such as those caused by metal shavings or fragments from other coins, can be visually dramatic and highly collectible. Another category worth mentioning is die cracks and cuds. Over time, dies can develop small cracks, and when coins are struck with these damaged dies, raised lines or blobs of metal appear on the coin surface. A cut occurs when a piece of the die actually breaks away, leaving a raised, unstruck area on the coin. Large, dramatic cuts on modern coins are rare, and when they appear on 2018 pennies, they can spark bidding wars among error collectors. Weight anomalies are also critical. The standard 2018 penny weighs 2.5 grams, but coins struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime or a foreign blank, will have different weights. This is why advanced collectors keep precision scales capable of measuring to at least 2 decimal places. A penny that weighs, say, 2.3 grams or 2.7 grams could indicate a significant error worth investigating. Let's not forget color variations. Because the 2018 penny is copper-plated zinc, variations in the plating process can create unusual tones, from bright reddish orange to deep chocolate brown, or even streaky surfaces where the zinc shows through. While most of these are the result of minting inconsistencies and carry modest premiums, particularly vivid or unusual colorations, especially on uncirculated coins, can attract collectors who specialize in toners. But perhaps the most exciting and elusive find would be a mule error. A mule occurs when the obverse of one coin type is paired with the reverse of another due to a mix-up at the mint. While there are no widely confirmed mules for the 2018 penny yet, the possibility exists, and even the rumor of such a coin would send shockwaves through the numismatic community. Mule errors are some of the rarest and most valuable coins in existence, and a 2018 penny mule would be a sensation. Now, how does all of this tie back into the mythical $20 million valuation? It's all about rarity, demand, and the right buyers. Imagine if only one example of a spectacular error existed. Let's say a proof-quality 2018 penny struck on a gold planchet, with dramatic doubling on both sides, and discovered in flawless MS-70 condition. The coin story would dominate headlines, appearing in collector magazines, mainstream news, and social media feeds worldwide. Wealthy collectors, eager to own a truly unique piece of numismatic history, could easily drive the price into the tens of millions. In such a case, the coin's market value would be determined less by its intrinsic metal worth and more by its status as an irreplaceable artifact. The reality, of course, is that most 2018 pennies are ordinary. But that's the beauty of the hobby. The extraordinary hides among the ordinary, and only the patient and knowledgeable will find it. The hunt itself becomes a reward, a daily treasure hunt in pocket change. Even if you never find the $20 million penny, you might discover smaller rarities worth hundreds or thousands, each adding to your collection story. The journey into coin collecting often begins with curiosity. A child notices a shiny new penny and wonders why the design looks slightly different. An adult finds a strange-looking coin in change and searches online, leading to hours of research and the discovery of an entire community of enthusiasts. The 2018 penny, with its modern design and potential for rare varieties, serves as a perfect entry point into this world. And once you step into the realm of numismatics, you begin to see coins not just as money, but as miniature pieces of history, each with its own narrative. In the end, the 2018 penny's potential isn't just about its current market value. It's about what it represents. The possibility that something as small and ordinary as a cent could one day be worth a life-changing amount. That possibility keeps collectors searching, keeps the market alive, and keeps the legend growing. To fully understand the kind of excitement a rare 2018 penny could create, we have to look at what's happened in the past with other coins that started out as ordinary circulation issues. History is full of examples where a seemingly common coin turned out to be an extraordinary rarity, and when collectors discovered it, the numismatic world lit up like a spotlight. These case studies aren't just interesting, they're essential for understanding why a unique 2018 penny could, in theory, be worth as much as $20 million in the right conditions. Take the famous 1943 copper cent. During World War II, the U.S. Mint switched from copper to zinc-coated steel for penny production to save copper for wartime needs. But a small number of copper planchets, left over from 1942, somehow got caught in the presses and were struck with 1943 dies. For decades, these coins were the stuff of playground legends, with stories of kids finding one and becoming rich overnight. Today, authenticated examples of the 1943 copper cent can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in pristine condition, they can cross the $1 million mark. The lesson here is clear. Even a small minting anomaly can create a coin so rare that it becomes a cornerstone of the hobby. Then, there's the 1955 double-die Lincoln cent, one of the most dramatic and famous errors in U.S. coinage. The doubling on the date and lettering is so bold that it can be seen without magnification. In its time, this coin caused a stir unlike anything before it. Newspapers wrote about it, collectors rushed to banks to search rolls, and people who found them in change felt like they'd won a lottery. Even now, decades later, these coins fetch thousands of dollars, especially in higher grades. The key takeaway? Dramatic visual errors, especially on a widely recognized design like the Lincoln cent, have lasting market power. Another relevant case is the 2000 Cheerios Sacagawea dollar. This wasn't a minting error in the traditional sense, but a special issue. A small number of 2000 Sacagawea dollars were placed in cereal boxes as a promotion, and those coins happened to have a prototype reverse with enhanced tail feather details. Because so few were distributed and because the difference wasn't noticed for years, these coins became highly sought after, with values in the thousands. This illustrates how even subtle design differences, when rare, can create major collector interest. Now imagine applying this kind of historical precedent to a 2018 penny. If a unique and dramatic error, something unmistakable to the naked eye, emerged from that year's mintage, the reaction from the coin community could be enormous. It could start with a single post online. A sharp-eyed collector uploads a photo of their change, and in that image, the date looks doubled, the shield is misaligned, or a portion of the coin surface is missing. Other collectors notice, speculation begins, and soon the coin is being examined by experts. Once authenticated, If it's confirmed to be the only one of its kind, the bidding wars could begin. The psychology behind those bidding wars is fascinating. In high-end numismatics, buyers are often not just hobbyists. They're investors, celebrities, business moguls, and people who want something no one else can have. The coin becomes a trophy, a symbol of success, and an asset that can be displayed, written about, and passed down as part of a legacy. In such an environment, price becomes secondary to exclusivity. That's how records get broken. And while a $20 million price tag sounds extreme, consider the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, a $20 gold coin that never officially entered circulation. Most were melted down, but a few escaped. For decades, owning one was illegal, until a legal battle over a single example ended with the coin selling at auction for over $18 million in 2021. The metal content of that coin is nowhere near its sale price. The value comes from its rarity, its story, and the fact that there will never be another quite like it. This brings us back to the concept of story premium. Every rare coin that achieves astronomical value has more than just physical rarity. It has a narrative that captures imaginations. The 1943 copper cent is the wartime mistake. The 1955 double die is the bold error everyone could see. The 1933 double eagle is the forbidden coin. For a 2018 penny to reach the $20 million mark, it would need a similar narrative, perhaps. The only modern penny with this impossible error. Or the last great minting anomaly of the Lincoln Cent series. And here's where the collector's imagination takes over. People begin to picture the find. Maybe it's tucked away in a jar of change, maybe it's sitting unnoticed in a bank roll, or maybe it's in a proof set that no one has opened in years. The mere possibility keeps the hunt alive. This is why the 2018 penny is so compelling, not because every one is valuable, but because one might be. That one is what keeps collectors searching, dealers buying, and videos like yours engaging millions of viewers who dream of finding treasure in their own pockets. In a way, the modern coin market thrives on this blend of fact and legend. Serious collectors know the odds, but they also know the history, and history has shown that extraordinary coins can appear when no one expects them. That's why a 2018 penny, struck just a few years ago, can still hold a place in conversations about potential record breakers. Let's imagine for a moment that such a unique and record-shattering 2018 penny actually surfaces. The discovery process itself would be a story worth millions, because in numismatics, the way a coin is found can become almost as important as the coin itself. Picture this: someone, perhaps a casual coin collector or even a complete beginner, is rolling up loose change at their kitchen table. Among the copper-colored discs, one penny catches the light differently. The date seems off. The surface has a strange texture. Maybe there's an obvious strike-through mark, or perhaps the reverse is rotated significantly from the obverse, a rare type of mint error known as a rotated die. The finder posts a few pictures on social media, not expecting much, but within hours, experienced collectors are commenting, "That's not normal, you need to get that authenticated, this could be the discovery of the decade." Suddenly, the coin isn't just a curiosity, it's a potential headline maker. This is the first step in transforming an ordinary-looking coin into a $20 million sensation: awareness. Once the excitement begins, the coin would be sent to a professional grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These companies don't just grade coins for condition, they also verify authenticity and classify errors. If the coin turns out to be a legitimate, never-before-seen minting anomaly, and if it's truly unique, it would receive a designation that cements its status in numismatic history. Imagine a label that reads, 2018 Lincoln Cent, Unique Major Mint Error, Discovery Piece. Those words alone would make the coin irresistible to elite collectors. The moment grading is complete, the coin would likely be returned in a protective slab, sealed forever in a clear holder that both preserves it and makes it ready for display. From there, the marketing begins. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, or Great Collections would compete to handle the sale. They would craft elaborate promotional materials, high-resolution photographs, detailed descriptions, and even video features showing the coin in rotating display cases under perfect lighting. In this stage, the narrative becomes even more powerful. News outlets start picking up the story. Rare 2018 penny could be worth millions. Pocket change treasure found in everyday coins. 1-cent piece could fetch $20 million at auction. People who have never cared about coins suddenly find themselves checking their change. Social media hashtags explode, and videos rack up millions of views as everyone speculates about the final hammer price. When the auction day arrives, the atmosphere is electric. Whether it's held in a grand hall or broadcast live online, the bidding starts at a high but reasonable number, maybe $500,000. Then it jumps rapidly: 1 million, 2 million, 5 million. Bidders from around the globe are on the line: high net worth individuals, institutions, perhaps even celebrities who want the prestige of owning the 2018 penny. At a certain point, the bidding becomes symbolic. Each raise is not just about the coin, but about owning a piece of numismatic legend. The $10 million mark is crossed. Then $15 million. And finally, with a dramatic pause, the auctioneer calls, "Sold!" at $20 million. The room erupts in applause. After the sale, the coin would likely tour major coin shows and exhibitions, possibly even ending up on display at a museum for public viewing. The buyer's identity might be revealed, or kept secret to add even more mystery. Either way, the coin story doesn't end with the auction. It becomes part of the permanent record of rare coin sales, referenced in books, documentaries, and collector discussions for decades to come. This kind of trajectory is not just fantasy, it's based on real precedents. Coins have gone from being pulled out of circulation to achieving multi-million-dollar prices in astonishingly short periods. The 2018 penny, if it ever matched that path, would serve as proof that in numismatics, the extraordinary can happen at any time, even in the most recent years of mintage. What's fascinating is that such a discovery would also impact the broader market. Collectors would become more aggressive in searching modern coins, increasing demand for rolls, bags, and proof sets from recent years. Dealers would see spikes in sales for even minor varieties from 2018, hoping they might be undervalued sleeper coins. The entire Lincoln cent series could experience a surge in interest, driving prices upward for other rare or high-grade examples. And in the background, the 2018 $20 million penny would remain a touchstone, a symbol of possibility. People would talk about it at coin shows, debate it in forums, and use it as the benchmark for modern coin rarity. Kids growing up hearing the story might be inspired to start collecting themselves, searching through their own change in hopes of becoming the next big discovery story. It's this blend of tangible rarity, emotional storytelling, and speculative excitement that makes the idea of a $20 million penny believable in the right set of circumstances. Because in the world of coins, value is not just about metal content or age, it's about what that coin represents to those who want it most. The design of the 2018 1-cent coin is, on the surface, familiar to nearly every American and to many people worldwide who have handled U.S. currency. On the obverse, or front side, is the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's face has graced the penny since 1909, when it was first introduced to commemorate the centennial of his birth. In 2018, this portrait remained unchanged in its essential form, though the exact details depend on the dies used in that year, and can vary in sharpness and relief depending on the strike quality. His gaze is steady, slightly toward the right, with his iconic beard and high-collared coat rendered in fine detail. Above his head curves the inscription, "In God We Trust," while to the left appears the word, "Liberty," in bold capital letters, and to the right, the date, 2018, followed by a small mint mark, either P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco in the case of proof strikes. This mint mark alone can have a tremendous impact on value in the right circumstances. While standard circulation coins from Philadelphia and Denver are common, proof coins from San Francisco, struck with specially prepared dies and planchets, have a mirror-like finish and frosted details. If a rare mint error occurred in one of those proof strikes, it could exponentially increase value. In the case of our hypothetical $20 million 2018 penny, the mint mark could be part of the story. Perhaps a proof coin that escaped into circulation, or a no mint mark variety that should not exist for that year. On the reverse, we see the shield design introduced in 2010 and still in use in 2018. This shield, reminiscent of designs from early American heraldry, features a broad field with vertical stripes symbolizing the original 13 states, topped by a horizontal bar representing the Federal Union. Across this bar is inscribed, "E pluribus unum," Latin for, "out of many, one," a foundational motto of the United States. The word, 1 cent, is boldly centered in the lower half of the shield, while "United States of America" curves across the top. This design, created by Lionel Bass and sculpted by Joseph Mena, replaced the 4 Lincoln bicentennial reverses used in 2009 and aimed to evoke strength, unity, and the nation's historical roots. The artistry of the 2018 penny lies not in flashy ornamentation but in precise, functional symbolism. Yet within that precision, there is room for tiny deviations, the kind that, when struck into a coin, can transform it from ordinary to extraordinary. A double die on the date could make the numerals look shadowed or thickened. A misaligned die could cause part of the design to be off-center. A planchet error could leave the coin with clipped edges or missing details. Even the tiniest misplaced letter in "E pluribus unum" could set collectors buzzing. Now imagine a specific case. A 2018 penny struck on a copper planchet instead of the standard copper-plated zinc composition. Since 1982, the U.S. Mint has used zinc cores coated with copper, making the coins lighter at 2.5 grams compared to the older 3.11 gram copper cents. If, through some mix-up at the mint, a leftover copper planchet from pre-1983 stock or a specially prepared blank from a test run ended up in the press for 2018 cents, the result would be a major composition error. Such coins have sold for tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in the past. In our $20 million scenario, this copper planchet error could be combined with other factors, say, a proof finish, a double die obverse, and perfect uncirculated condition. The more unique characteristics that converge in one coin, the more unstoppable its auction potential becomes. Collectors and numismatists spend endless hours studying every ridge of the rim, every relief line in Lincoln's coat, every stripe of the shield, because these microscopic details can reveal both intentional artistry and unintentional anomalies. Even something as seemingly insignificant as die polish lines, tiny scratches on the die itself, can identify a specific die pairing, which can then link a coin to a particular moment in the minting process. That historical fingerprint can make a coin even more interesting to specialists. For the 2018 penny, the fact that it is so recent actually works to its advantage in a hypothetical mega sale scenario. Unlike older coins, which may have decades of wear or uncertain provenance, a 2018 coin could have a fully traceable history from the moment it left the mint. Imagine if this coin were pulled from a freshly opened bankroll, still blazing with mint luster, then immediately certified without a single mark from circulation. That freshness, combined with a unique error, could give it a kind of perfection that older rarities often can't match. In terms of visual appeal, the 2018 penny's coloration can also play a role. While most copper-plated zinc cents have a bright red tone when new, they quickly dull to brown in circulation. A coin that retains its original red color over years is prized, especially if it has a deep, even sheen with no spotting or streaking. In ultra-high-grade examples, the luster can seem to swirl across the surface as the coin tilts under light, a hypnotic effect for serious collectors. If our $20 million penny has this kind of flawless red luster, it would be yet another reason for wealthy bidders to compete fiercely. It's also worth noting that the minting process in 2018 involved advanced quality control, but no system is perfect. High-speed presses striking hundreds of coins per minute can still produce rare errors, especially during die changes or if foreign material enters the striking chamber. A small fragment of another coin, a stray piece of machinery grease, or even an improperly seated planchet could lead to a once-in-a-lifetime error. If such a coin is not caught by inspectors, and if it escapes into circulation, it becomes a potential treasure waiting to be found. The story of the 2018 1-cent coin cannot be fully appreciated without understanding the long and rich history of the Lincoln cent itself, a coin that has been in continuous production longer than any other U.S. coin design. It all began in 1909, when the United States Mint decided to replace the Indian head cent, which had been in circulation since 1859. President Theodore Roosevelt, dissatisfied with the artistic quality of the nation's coinage, had initiated a renaissance in American coin design, inviting talented artists to redesign the nation's currency. For the cent, he chose Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian-born engraver who had previously created a bas-relief plaque of Abraham Lincoln. Roosevelt was impressed by Brenner's Lincoln work and thought it fitting to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth with a coin bearing his likeness. When the Lincoln cent debuted in August 1909, it was the first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real person, breaking from the tradition of using allegorical figures like liberty. The original reverse bore 2 wheat ears framing the inscriptions, 1 cent, and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. These wheat cents remained in production until 1958 and became beloved among collectors for their simple, agricultural symbolism. In 1959, to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This was notable because it was the first time in U.S. coin history that the same person, Abraham Lincoln, appeared on both sides of the same coin. The memorial reverse continued for 50 years, with subtle changes to the obverse along the way as the master dies were updated. The next major change came in 2009, marking both the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln cent. That year, 4 different reverse designs were issued, each representing a stage in Lincoln's life: birth and early childhood in Kentucky, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and presidency in Washington, D.C. These designs were minted for 1 year only, making them a favorite among modern collectors. In 2010, the reverse changed again to the current shield design, meant to evoke the Union of States preserved by Lincoln during the Civil War. This shield is reminiscent of motifs used on early U.S. coinage and government seals, symbolizing strength, unity, and national identity. It was this shield reverse that was in place for the 2018 penny, tying the coin not just to Lincoln's legacy, but also to a broader theme of American endurance. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent's composition also evolved. From 1909 to 1942, pennies were struck primarily in bronze, 95% copper, with the remainder tin and zinc. In 1943, due to wartime copper shortages, the mint produced steel cents coated in zinc, which are now famous as a 1-year type and highly collectible. From 1944 to 1982, the mint returned to bronze, though in 1982 a switch was made to the current composition of 97.5% zinc with a 2.5% copper plating, drastically reducing production costs. This change also altered the weight from 3.11 grams for bronze cents to 2.5 grams for the modern copper-plated zinc cents. This composition change introduced a new dimension to collecting: transitional errors. In years when the composition changed, a few coins were accidentally struck on leftover planchets from the previous year's material. Such errors can be worth thousands of dollars, sometimes more, if verified. For a 2018 penny, a transitional error would be unexpected but theoretically possible if a different planchet type were mistakenly used. For instance, a blank intended for a foreign coin or a different denomination. The historical continuity of the Lincoln cent gives it an unparalleled place in American culture. Generations have grown up seeing Lincoln's face on the smallest denomination of U.S. currency, often as their first introduction to money. It is a coin with deep sentimental value, making rare variations all the more exciting to collectors. This cultural familiarity means that even non-collectors are more likely to recognize something unusual about a penny, increasing the chances that a rare coin will be spotted, saved, and eventually brought to market. By the time we arrive at the 2018 issue, the Lincoln cent has survived over a century of political, economic, and cultural change. It has outlasted proposals to eliminate it entirely, weathered debates over production costs, and maintained its position as the most produced coin in U.S. history. In 2018 alone, billions of pennies were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with smaller numbers of proofs from San Francisco. Within this ocean of coins, a single one with extraordinary characteristics would be like a diamond in a riverbed, unimaginably rare and, to the right buyer, worth a fortune. The history also informs the market psychology. Collectors know that coins like the 1943 copper cent or the 1955 double die have commanded astronomical prices because they are both rare and tied to an already beloved series. If a 2018 penny were discovered with a similar combination of rarity, historical resonance, and flawless preservation, the precedent is there for a massive sale. The fact that it is a Lincoln cent only amplifies the emotional and historical appeal, making it the kind of numismatic event that attracts not just coin collectors, but mainstream media and wealthy investors looking for iconic tangible assets. The path from 1909 to 2018 is a story of endurance, adaptation, and symbolism. And all of those factors feed into why a 2018 1-cent coin, in the right conditions, could break records and reach that fabled $20 million price tag. It's not just a coin. It's a direct descendant of one of America's most enduring designs, tied to a figure whose legacy is woven into the national identity and minted in an era when perfection and rarity can combine to create staggering value. The journey of the 2018 1-cent coin from its creation to its potential rise to multi-million-dollar value begins deep within the high-security facilities of the United States Mint. In 2018, production took place primarily at two locations, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, with a much smaller number of proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. The process starts with raw materials, in this case, large coils of zinc, each coated with a thin layer of copper. These coils arrive in massive rolls, weighing thousands of pounds, and are carefully inspected before entering the planchet production line. Planchets are the blank discs that will eventually be struck into coins, and for the 2018 penny, each planchet measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter and weighs precisely 2.5 grams. The blanking press punches out these planchets at an incredible rate, producing thousands per minute. Each blank is then annealed, heated to soften the metal, and cleaned in a chemical bath to remove any residue. This cleaning stage is critical, because any impurity on the planchet's surface could create a flaw in the final coin. From there, the blanks pass through an upsetting mill, which raises a small rim around the edge to help contain the metal flow during striking and to protect the design once the coin is in circulation. The heart of the process is the striking press, where the magic happens. Each coin is struck between two steel dies, the obverse die, bearing Abraham Lincoln's portrait, and the reverse die, with the Union Shield design. In 2018, the obverse still displayed the initials, VDB, beneath Lincoln's shoulder, a nod to Victor David Brenner, the coin's original designer. The dies are engraved in reverse, so when they strike the coin with hundreds of tons of pressure, the image appears correctly. In a fraction of a second, the flat, featureless planchet transforms into a fully detailed coin. This is also the stage where the rare and valuable errors are born. If the dies are misaligned, the coin can show an off-center strike. If foreign material is present, it might leave a strikingly unique mark. If the die begins to crack or break, it can produce distinctive raised lines or cuts on the coin's surface. Double strikes, broad strikes, and die caps can also occur, each creating a variety that collectors will pay dearly for. In some cases, an unplated zinc planchet might slip through, producing a silvery penny instead of the familiar copper color. The most valuable errors are those that are both visually dramatic and exceedingly rare, the kind that instantly stand out to even a casual observer. Once struck, the coins are inspected by automated vision systems that detect major flaws, though not every error is caught. The coins are then counted, bagged, and shipped in bulk to Federal Reserve banks, and from there to commercial banks, grocery stores, vending machines, and ultimately into the hands of the public. For most coins, this is the end of the story, but for a rare few, those with pristine surfaces, dramatic mint errors, or unique production quirks, the real journey begins once they're noticed by a sharp-eyed collector or dealer. The path from ordinary penny to $20 million treasure is one that requires the perfect storm of conditions. First, the coin must have something that makes it extraordinary: a flawless proof strike, an unrepeatable error, a unique composition, or a historically significant characteristic. Second, it must survive in that state without damage. Circulation is brutal on coins. Even a single scratch or ding can slash a coin's value dramatically. Third, it must be authenticated and graded by a trusted third-party grading service, such as PCGS or NGC. These services encapsulate coins in tamper-proof holders and assign a grade, with MS70 representing absolute perfection. For a modern coin, an MS70 grade is difficult to achieve, and when combined with extreme rarity, it becomes the stuff of legends. Once authenticated, the coin can enter the high-end numismatic market, where deep-pocketed collectors and investors compete for iconic pieces. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, and Great Collections have all sold coins for record-shattering amounts when rarity and demand converge. A bidding war between two or more determined collectors can push the final price into the stratosphere. This is where a 2018 penny with the right qualities could, theoretically, achieve a $20 million hammer price, not because it is made of precious metal, but because it is the only one of its kind, the pinnacle of condition, and tied to a historically beloved design. The allure of such a coin lies not only in its market value but also in its symbolism. It represents a fusion of history, artistry, craftsmanship, and luck, a reminder that even the smallest denomination in American currency can hold stories and secrets worth a fortune. For the person who finds such a coin in their change, the moment of discovery would be life-changing, turning an ordinary day into an unforgettable turning point. For the buyer, acquiring it would be the culmination of years of collecting, research, and passion, securing a tangible piece of American history that no one else on earth can claim. And so, the humble 2018 Lincoln penny, struck by the billions, spit without thought, dropped into jars and lost in couch cushions, carries within it the potential for greatness. For most, it will remain just a cent, a small unit of currency passed from hand to hand. But for one, perhaps somewhere out there, it is the rarest of the rare, a perfect survivor of the minting process, a coin that bridges past and present, and a treasure whose value defies its face. In that sense, it is a quiet metaphor for the American spirit itself, enduring, often overlooked, yet capable of astonishing greatness when the right circumstances come together. In the vast river of commerce, among billions of ordinary coins, the extraordinary waits, and it might just be hiding in your pocket right now.